Swadikap. Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to welcome you to our first co-webinar jointly organized by TASPAT WHA and AIT Extension. The series of the events aim to promote the knowledge transfer and technology development between China and Thailand. The audience can receive the knowledge and experience from the guest speakers to apply them to a work and business. For this time, we start to present the local knowledge from the Thailand side. As you may know, Thai government has created a long-term strategy to develop Thai economy. It's called Thailand 4.0 initiatives. And the government set the 10 new S-curve industry to be concentrated for creating the new value-based economy. We think that understanding the industry will be beneficial for looking for the opportunity in the future. So for today, we create the webinar in the topic, Deep Tech in Thailand New S-curve Industry, Opportunity in the Thai Market. Before starting the talk, we would like to give the floor for Mr. Ri Shuren, Executive General Manager, TASPAT WHA, to have an opening speech. Let's join me to welcome Mr. Ri.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Li Ziran from TASPAT WHA, and I would like to appreciate all the efforts that AIT team and our TASPAT team has made to arrange such event and to deliver a very outstanding content and knowledges to all the audiences in China and Thailand. And TASPAT WHA is a joint venture innovation platform in downtown Bangkok, just right next to Chulalongkorn University. And AIT is our formal partnership. It's basically, I think they are the first formal partnerships we've got here in Bangkok. And as just Christopher mentioned, that our team has worked closely with AIT team for almost 2 months to arrange such event to make sure that we can deliver a very fulfilled and fruitful, let's say, knowledge or content to the audiences. And since TASPAT WHA here is aiming to create and develop a very healthy ecosystem here in Thailand. So the partners like AIT is our strongest and solid partner that in the future, and we will continuously work closely with AIT and other partners to deliver innovation services and try our best to create a very healthy platform here in Thailand to help all the startups and projects and excellent entrepreneurs. So here I would like to thank you all for attending such event and hope you can enjoy this event. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your remarkable speech, Mr. Ri. Furthermore, we also received the honor from the AIT party, Dr. Christopher Gardner, Executive Director, AIT Extension, to have an opening speech. Let's join me welcome Dr. Christopher.
Thank you so much, Paisan. And thank you so much, Mr. Lee, sir. We here at AIT are extremely excited and proud of our strategic partnership with TASPAT, WHA TASPAT. We, just knowing what they do and their pursuit of entrepreneurship and innovation is right in the wheelhouse, right in the same space as AIT, as the Asian Institute of Technology here in Bangkok, Thailand. We have our own entrepreneurship center. We encourage entrepreneurship and innovation. What is beautiful about the Asian Institute of Technology is that we are not just a Thai university. We are very much an international university with only 30% of our student body being Thai. You know, me as an American, I have leading the executive education port of our AIT extension. I have Thai people that work with me and for me. I have people from India. I have people from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from Australia, from all over the world. And I encourage you, especially those that are in China now, when you have the opportunity, come visit us. If you want to study a master's or earn your doctorate degree, instead of going so far, we're right in your backyard. And again, I'm so thrilled to be in this relationship with WHA at Test Park. And together, I firmly believe that we will give the proper platform and space to really help excel you innovators and entrepreneurs out there. Thank you so much, Mr. Lee, and thank you, WHA at Test Park, just for the collaboration and the partnership we share together.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Christopher. Let's move to the main topic for today. Under the topic, Deep Tech in Thailand, New S-curve industry, opportunity in Thai market. We would like to focus on two main topics, including the robotics technologies and trend of data analytics. Today, we invite the two experts to share their knowledge and experience on each topic. For the first one is the robotics startup opportunity in Thailand. We received the honor from Dr. Manukit Panishgun, Professor Industrial Engineering Program, School of Engineering and Technology, AIT. He received the bachelor degree from Faculties of Engineering, Chulalongkorn Universities, master degree and PhD degree in Precision Machinery Engineering from University of Tokyo. His area of interest is on robotics, control and measurement, and involved with the design and development of hardware and software of mechatronic device, new robot mechanisms, novel control algorithms, and innovative measurement concepts. Currently, Dr. Manukit is a member of the Committee of Thai Robotics Societies. It's a good time to start now. Please join me. Welcome Dr. Manukit to share his knowledge about the robotics.
Thank you, Khun Paisan, very much for the introduction. May I share my screen?
Sure.
All right. So I hope that you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. I'm Manukit from Mechatronics program at AIT. Today, I will give a talk on the topic robotics startup opportunities in Thailand. The talk today will cover from the robotics milestones in Thailand. I will introduce the Thai robotics company. Some of them I will introduce today so that you see what activities of this company. I will explain about the benefit for startup and investor if you are interested to invest in Thailand. And then I will come back and explain about the existing resources, capacities, and ongoing research in Thailand, especially at AIT. I will highlight some of the research activities in the area of self-driving vehicles, self-balancing vehicles, haptic device and machine, exoskeleton robots, automatic guide vehicle, laser guide vehicle before coming for the conclusion. Actually, Thai people, we know about robot around 1993. We have to thank NHK, a broadcasting agency in Japan that invite a Thai representative to send a representative team from Thailand to join NHK Robocon. That is a robot competition organized in Japan every year. And NHK invite Technology Promotion Association Thailand Japan, we call TPA, or in Thai it is SOSOTO, to organize the robot competition annually. If we include this year, it will be already nearly 28 years. But okay, because of the COVID, we delay the project this time, and then we will find an appropriate time in order to find or in order to organize this year robot competition. So after TPA organized the robot competition every year, the number of participating teams increased, and especially after our students, they could conquer the first prize from several international robot competition, not only NHK Robocon, but also ABU Robot Contest. ABU stands for Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union Robot Competition, which is among the most famous robot competition in Asia Pacific. The Thai student also get the first prize in RoboCup in small size league. We get the first prize in rescue robot. And Thailand also organized our own and very unique robot competition that include the Thailand Intelligent Vehicle Challenge by C Robo Thailand Championship. And also the Thai Robotics Society, it was launched in year 2000 in order to promote the activity in robots so that it is more systematic and it is faster. In the past, when Thai engineer, we develop or we build the robot, we make it just made to order and it is not mass production. So we get very little awareness about the existence of the Thai robot until after the flood. We have a big flood in 2011. And after the flood from year 2012 onward, we start to have more and more robotics company, and we start to sell robot in mass production. So this is the development. Okay, let me introduce to you some of well-known robotics company in Thailand. CT Asia Robotics, they develop series of Dinsaw robot. Okay, the current version include Dinsaw Mini and also Dinsaw 4. In Dinsaw Mini, it is a kind of small robot. It has camera and it is used for elderly monitoring. So the relative or the medical doctor can communicate and give some suggestion to elderly using Dinsaw Mini. And Dinsaw 4, it has more functions. It has 4 wheels for locomotion. It has also several sensors. It can also have arms and also fingers. So it can do a lot of activity. So Dinsaw 4 can be used as a reception robot, or it can be used as a partner robot. The other company is SG Robotics. SG stands for Hive Ground. Mainly Hive Ground focus on drone. They develop several versions of drone. Tiger drone, it is a small scale drone. Mainly it is used for pesticide spraying. Vespa Hex has 6 rotors. It is a bigger version. It is used for survey and crop analysis. A fixed wing Vehicle, it is used for large scale survey. And the other company, I think you may listen to some news from several sources. ARV, this is a company under PTT. PTT is a Thai biggest petroleum company. They develop several types of AUV, autonomous underwater robot. Explorer, it is AUV, which is used for pipeline inspection. Explorer R, it is used for general purpose surveillance. Nautilus, it is AUV, which is used to repair pipeline underwater. And it also developed a drone called Ieng. Ieng is a kind of bird name in Thailand. It is also used for pesticide spraying. Haptics Robotics is a new company. This company established from the collaboration between engineer and medical doctor. They built Ninja and sell Ninja, which is a medical robot for stroke patient. Ninja has several sensors used to detect body temperature of the stroke patient. It has the sensor used to detect blood pressure. It has sensor used to detect also the gesture during the rehabilitation. It has camera to detect the gesture, and it also has microphone and speaker in order to recognize the speech from the stroke patient. And it has the program in order to work as the expert system to recommend or to provide some suggestion to the stroke patient. Another company, Planet TNS, Planet TNS, it is a company that starts from selling sensors, actuators, electrical and electronic device. Now Planet has a new product line. This is autonomous laser guide vehicle. So this is the project that join hand with AIT to develop autonomous laser guide vehicle. I will explain about the detail of this project to you shortly later. And it also developed several types of AGV, automatic guide vehicle, for several applications. Genserve is a company that produce also autonomous forklift and delivery robot. And we have also a company called Menam Mechanica. Actually, Menam Mechanica focus on ASRS system. This is the company that create ASRS at Suvarnabhumi Airport. So Menam has the engineer who can create autonomous stack crane. So these are some of the Thai robotics company which has mass production of their robot or their product. We have also several Thai company which work like the system integrator and develop some kind of make to order, but not mass production. Okay. Now, if we come for the benefits for startup or the investor, anybody who are interested to invest or to create a startup company in Thailand, the Royal Thai government provides several package through various agencies in Thailand. I think you know well on Board of Investment or BOI, which provide a lot of package for investor, including income tax exempt for 5 years. It also exempt or reduce import duties and dividends tax. It also provide cost reduction if the expense relating with transportation, water, electricity, and facility construction. And if any company that plan to launch an innovative product, so National Innovation Agency or NIA provides several support, including matching fund grant, which can be up to 75% of the total cost of the project, or up to 5 million baht, depending whether which amount is lower. And NIA also support in terms of no interest loan. And also there are some other funding agency in Thailand, like ITAP, under National Science and Technology Development Agency, National Research Council of Thailand, and also PMUC, that is launched in order to promote the competitiveness of Thailand so that we can go past beyond the middle income trap country. So these are a lot of package and also agency that help startup or investor if we are interested to invest high technology, especially robots in Thailand. Okay, after you already get the idea about what we get support from the government and also the history of the company, they can be your partner, they can be your competitor. Now let's come see the existing resources, capacities, and ongoing research in Thailand. But mainly, I will focus at AIT because I know detail the best. But of course, at the other university, there exists also some research activity that relate with this group of research. Okay, the first group is about the self-driving vehicles. Here, Thailand, we start the self-driving project, self-driving car project since year 2005. That time, I was the president of the Thai Robotics Society, and I see that we have several universities whose the expertise are different. Like AIT is very good in dynamic control. Chulalongkorn University is very good in mechanism design. King Mongkut North Bangkok is very good in machining, manufacturing. And several other universities have their expertise and their specialization. So I just thought that time that why we do not join hands together and create a national project on self-driving car. And then we create a project, we create a proposal and request for funding from the government. Actually, that year it was 2005. And at that time, we joined hands among 12 universities. But all the researchers, we are so young and we request so huge budget that time, it was 26 million baht. So finally, after the consideration, the government did not provide us 26 million baht, but support just only for the feasibility study of development of the self-driving car. So after we cannot get the required support, then we change our target because we think that sometimes if we contact private company, the development may be faster. Then we contact Seagate Technology Thailand, and after several rounds of discussion, finally we end up the project with launching of the Thailand Intelligent Vehicle Challenge. We organized it in year 2007, 2008, and 2009. AIT is the organizer on behalf of the Thai Robotics Society, but we also participate in the competition. So this is the video that you can see from year 2009. This is the final round of the Thailand Intelligent Vehicle Challenge. The team from AIT is in the Mitsubishi Galant. Another team from Royal Thai Air Force Academy. In the game, we've had two teams, and one team is placed at 0 kilometer point. Another team is placed at a half of the total distance of one lap, because one lap in Bangkok racing circuit is 2.2 kilometer. So another team is placed at 1.1 kilometer. Then we provide 20 minutes. Each team has to run autonomously, no remote control. It has to be fully autonomous self-driving car, and it has to run as fast as possible and catch another team. So the team from AIT could catch all the remaining team, except in the final round that even 20 minutes, we could not catch another team. But because we set the rule that if we are able to run longer, and if we get the bonus point when we avoid clashing with the obstacle, then we will decide the winner based on the accumulated point or the accumulated distance. The team from AIT use GPS, use compass, digital map along with the waypoint of the racing field for trajectory tracking or navigation control. We use laser scanner in order to scan the environment. Based on the point count, we design the algorithm in order to avoid clashing with the obstacle. Okay. If we want to develop self-driving car, there are several functions that are required and very important. One of the functions is adaptive cruise control. Like if we set our speed at, for example, one speed, 100 kilometers per hour, and if there is no other leading vehicle, or if the leading vehicle run at faster than our set speed, then we can use speed control. We can maintain our speed at the set speed, for example, at 100 kilometers per hour. But if the preceding vehicle it runs slower than the set speed, we cannot use speed control. Otherwise, we will clash the preceding car. So what we can do is to change from the speed control to the distance control. And for the distance, it depends whether you fix a distance of 10 meters, 20 meters, up to you, or you may fix a time headway. Like if we set time headway of 1 second, if the preceding vehicle run at 36 kilometers per hour, it means that the safe distance, it should be 10 meters. But if the preceding vehicle runs faster at 72 kilometers per hour, then the safe distance, it should be 20 meters. But we may set the minimum distance, for example, either 3 meters or 5 meters, because if the preceding vehicle runs at slow speed, based on 1 second, it will be 0 meter, which is too risky. Then we may set like 3 meters or 5 meters. And not only adaptive cruise control, we can also implement automatic parking function in self-driving car. Like if we have the bird eye view information from the parking lot by scanning the parking lot profile and our current position, then we can do automatic parking easily. But most of the parking lot in Thailand and even in other countries, I think there are very few parking lots which provide the bird eye view information of the parking lot. Then what we can do is just to install local sensor. We can use camera, we can use sonar, we can use laser, we can use radar. So this sensor will scan and we get only partial information of the whole parking lot. And based on the accumulation of this information, then we integrate the information, and finally we can plan the path for automatic parking system. You can see the accumulation of the parking lot, okay, here on the right side, and the robot current position is shown by the green solid line. And after we know the current position relative to the parking lot, then we can do automatic parking easily. AAT start the flying robot project since year 2001. Actually, AAT is the first university in Thailand that successfully control autonomous flying robot. And this is the video from year 2005. We have the press conference and we conduct the demonstration of the flying robot to do automatic takeoff, fly to the left for 2 meters, fly to the front for 2 meters, fly to the right for 2 meters before coming back to the home position and do automatic landing. So everything is fully autonomous here. But that time there was no quad rotor or no drone available in the market. We have to develop everything from scratch by ourselves. And if the environment is underwater, we have to develop AUV, autonomous underwater vehicle, or AUR, autonomous underwater robot. Because this robot moves freely in the space, even though the space is underwater. So it involves with 6 degree freedom, position X, Y, Z, orientation, roll, pitch, and yaw. So we have to control all these 6 degree freedom. But unfortunately, we could control only 4 degree freedom of roll, pitch, yaw, and depth. For the coordinate X and Y, because we cannot use the GPS information, we develop similar to GPS, but we use sonar in order to emit wave and calculate the position. But the error of localization is too large. Finally, we could not control the position, but we could control the speed along coordinate along X and Y position. So these are 2 videos that show several versions of spherical robot which run by itself, follow the waypoint that we provide. The advantage of spherical robot is on its shape because it looks like ball. So it is very robust and very convenient to work in any terrain, even though it may be very rough, even though we may have slope, it can work without any problem. But the difficulty is on how to design the mechanism so that our ball-shaped spherical robot, it can run as fast as possible. Like in the future, we plan to make it like a ball. And if the real soccer player play the ball, we have the robot that try to work itself like the opponent, so that it should be very, very fast speed. So the first version here, at the top video, we use concept of omnidirectional wheel that change the center of gravity and drive the robot. So it is still quite slow. The second version is shown here. It uses motor to drive a fixed axis, and it has the pendulum in order to change the center of gravity. And when we change the center of gravity, we change the radius of curvature. Then we can control the heading and position. So that are the first group of the research in this area. The second group, it is about self-driving or self-balancing vehicle or robots. After AIT organized Thailand Intelligent Vehicle Challenge for 3 years, we think that the competition can be more challenged if we change the platform from 4-wheel vehicle to just 2-wheel of bicycle. Because we have to do navigation control, it has to drive, follow the waypoint, and at the same time, it has to do balancing itself because the bicycle is imbalanced system. If you don't control it, it falls to the left or fall to the right. So each team from several universities, they have to think, firstly, mechanism to balance the bicycle. Secondly, what is the control algorithm used to balance the bicycle? This is the team from AAT. We organized and we also joined the competition that use concept of 2 flywheels run at the same speed, but in opposite direction. We know that the moment or the torque is obtained when we have rate of change of angular momentum. So if we create in such the way that the summation of angular momentum on the vertical axis is always 0, then there will be no bias moment to change the heading. And we try to create in such the way that the rate of change of angular momentum point to the front or point to the back. If rate of change of angular momentum point to the front, it means that the flywheel will rotate to the right, so the whole body will rotate to the left. So by changing rate of change of angular momentum either to the front, to the back, or at the center, then we'll be able to balance the bicycle. After our bicycle balance, then we just follow with trajectory tracking or navigation control. And this is another video. This is a team from AIT. They don't get the first prize, but they get the Excellent Technique Award. It used the concept of centrifugal force. So like if the bicycle is falling to the left, we can create the centrifugal force by turning steering to the left, and so that the radius of curvature is smaller, and increase the speed. Then the centrifugal force, it will create the moment in order to flip the bicycle to the right direction. And of course, if the bicycle is falling to the right, we do the same. We reduce the radius of curvature to the right and increase the speed. Then we will have the moment to flip to the left direction. This is a video of two-wheel balancing wheelchair. Of course, most of wheelchair nowadays, they have four wheels. But we think that if we want to create wheelchair that can climb steps or stair, it will be more convenient if it can balance itself on two wheels. Here you can see that we have two sets of the wheel. If we want to step or flip over the step or the stair, we will change and we continue with the balancing again. So this is the video that shows the robustness even with the external disturbance. And the second version of the robot is shown here. It is Segway type. Segway type means there are two wheels which used to balance, that used to make the motion. Seat turnable wheelchair. This is very convenient. Like if the user want to target at one direction, even though the base, it may move to the left, to the right, the orientation may move clockwise or counterclockwise, but we can maintain the heading of the seat at any desired location. So it is very convenient, but of course, the most difficulty is how to balance this wheelchair. And the other project is the development of a unicycle robot or unicycle wheelchair. So if we have just only one wheel, the system becomes unbalanced in row, pitch, and yaw direction. When the system is balanced, it's the job of engineer to design balancing mechanism. For roll angle, we use two flywheel. If we create summation of angular momentum, and if the rate of change of angular momentum point to the front or point to the back, then we have moment to balance in row axis. For pitch angle, if the unicycle robot or unicycle wheelchair is falling to the front, if we move the wheel to the front direction by using conservation of angular momentum, the whole body will lean to the back. Then we can balance in pitch angle. And for your angle, if the summation of rate of change of angular momentum on the vertical axis is non-zero, either upward or downward, then we have the moment that used to turn the unicycle either to the left or to the right. So in real application, what we need to do is to change heading first, and then we do this distance control of the unicycle robot. Okay, the third group of the research are about the haptics machine or device. For human, we have 6 sensors: eye to see, we have ear to get sounds, we have nose to get the smelling, we have tongue to get the taste, we have skin to get tactile sensation, and we have two mechanism in our 2 ears to get the balancing. Among these 6 sensations, we could transmit only 2 things, 2 information, audio and video. Like when we are attending this webinar, we transmit 2 information, audio and video. So I just think with a medical doctor at Sirirat Hospital, Professor Chailer Pichit Ponchai, better if we can transmit audio, video, and tactile sensation, it will be very useful. So we use this concept to develop a medical teleanalyzer. The doctor can be at Sirirat Hospital. The patient can be at provincial hospital. When the doctor push on the machine, there are 80 cells. The displacement of all 80 cells are sent and then sent by internet to the patient side. The patient are supposed to lie beneath the machine. When the cell on the patient side push on the patient abdomen, if there are some tumors at that location, the profile of force will be higher. The information of force of 80 cells are sent back to the doctor. And because we have force controller at the doctor side, the doctor will get the same feeling. Then he can diagnose the patient whether there exists or not the tumors, and if there exists, where is it, whether it is at liver or spleen, whether it is hepatomegaly or splenomegaly. And AIT also developed a prototype of pneumatic surgical robot. I think everyone know well about Da Vinci robot. Da Vinci is very good, but we think that because Da Vinci, it is used for MIS, minimal invasive surgery, but because the actuator is still electrical actuator. So if we change the actuator to more safe actuator like pneumatic actuator, which use air, so there is no problem of electric circuit short. So it is more safe. But the problem of the pneumatic system, it is on the compressivity of air, position control and force control is very difficult. Then we develop H infinity controller so that it is quite robust for the compressivity of air system. There are two types of the exoskeleton robot, depending whether the user move first and the robot follow. Then we call this, we use it for power amplification. Or if the exoskeleton move first and then the user follow, it is very useful for rehabilitation. So this is a video of the leg exoskeleton robot, which was developed at AIT. We developed it to replace wheelchair because we know that for wheelchair, it cannot move on step. But if we have exoskeleton which carry patient, and when the patient lean the body, the system will be able to send the center of gravity change, and based on change of center of gravity, it will change the gait pattern. So this plan to be used for to replace wheelchair. And this is another video. We have exoskeleton robot, which is used for virtual reality. This arm exoskeleton has 6-degree freedom. We design the system so that we compensate the weight and friction. So if it is free space, the user can move the robot freely. But if there exists virtual object, depending on the amount of the penetration into the surface of the virtual object or the speed of the penetration, we simulate spring and damping force. Then by using this impedance control, we will get the feeling of the profile of the object. Then it can be used for several purposes, like for the training, for dentistry, student, and etc. AT joined hand with a company called Medical Robotics to launch a product of walking rehabilitation. The system consists of 3 units of gait auto-seat leg, gait auto-seat robot, and second unit, it is a treadmill, and the third unit, it is a weight support system. So based on the condition of the patient, the therapist or the doctor will set the force that will use to support the patient, and also he can set the speed, and the speed of gait auto-seat robot and also the speed of the treadmill, they are synchronized. And by using this several weeks, then the patient can recover for walking faster. AT get the order from Trachang, which is a child company under SCG group, because SCG, they want to create a prototype, want AT to create a prototype of the power suit that used to carry construction material. So the requirement was that we have to develop the system that can carry the cement bag of around 50 kilograms is the requirement. Based on that requirement, we design the system. We use hydraulic system. So the user doesn't get the feeling of carrying any load at all. But the problem is because we use hydraulic system, the cable of 20 meters, it limits the motion. So if we make it longer, then the user can move with wider area. And the next group of the research project, it is about automatic guide vehicle or laser guide vehicle. This type of robot are used a lot in factories. So this is a video that shows the library robot that we developed for our own library. After we modernize our library, so we are assigned to design the robot to assist the librarian. So when reader finish reading books, they put books at the book cart. which locate at the station. And if the book card they are full, the librarian will send the command to the robot through GUI program. The librarian will send the command whether the library robot will take a book card from one station to the storage area, and then the librarian they can take back book to the bookshelf. This is the project that AIT joined hand with Planet TNS and create a product that sell in Thailand. This is autonomous forklift, sometimes we call as laser guide vehicle. If we work in indoor environment, we cannot use GPS. We cannot use GPS to localize our coordinate. So we have to use other techniques, and the techniques that are well known, it is date reckoning system. By using encoder, we can find our coordinate X, Y, and heading. But mostly when we work in indoor environment, there might be some slip at the wheel, then the error will be accumulated. Finally, we will lose our coordinate and heading. So we have to find other algorithm. One technique is by using visual slam. One technique is by using laser slam, like using Monte Carlo localization, which use concept of particle filter. Or this system, we use the combination between laser scanner along with the reflector. If we know coordinate of reflector in advance, so it is like GPS can calculate the coordinate X, Y, and also heading of the robot. And after we know X, Y, and heading, then we can use the concept of waypoint tracking or navigation control in order to navigate our forklift to move to any location. And the next video, it shows that nowadays, mostly when we have robot AGV or LGV in factory, when AGV or LGV see with the obstacle, either static obstacle or dynamic obstacle, it just stops and it waits until operator take out the obstacle or the dynamic obstacle disappear. Then it will continue the motion. But we develop the system by using concept of obstacle avoidance. There are several methods that can be used, either using concept of rule-based, using concept of behavior-based. We can use concept of potential field, creating a virtual field in such the way that robots stay at very high field and the destination is at very low field. The obstacle is at very high field. Then we consider the robot as a ball that move from high location to a lower location. But of course, there may be sometimes local minimum, or we have the deadlock. The robot cannot go further because the field is surrounded by a higher area. So in that case, we have to recognize the deadlock system or the local minimum. And then we may need to change the formula of the potential field so that the robot can work for any situation or any condition. And this is another video that shows the stair climbing wheelchair, which has 16-degree freedom. It has 4 legs. One leg has 4-degree freedom. One motor is used to move front and back. One motor is used to change heading left and right. One motor is used to flip when the wheelchair climbs the stair. And one motor is used to set the seat of the wheelchair to be always in horizontal plane. So this is the video that shows the concept. All right, so I think that you get the ideas about what's going on in Thailand. So I hope that I can convince you that Thai engineer can support for any area of the robotics activity you are interested to launch in Thailand. In conclusion, the number of startup robotic startup company increased a lot in Thailand, especially after the big flood in year 2012. And we changed from made to order into mass production. And Thailand, under the Thai government, provide a lot of support for startup and investor, especially for high-tech business. And robotics is one of the target business. And Thailand has resources, capacities, and experience to support robotic startup company or any investor. Okay, so these are all my presentation. And if you have any question, I'm glad to answer any question. Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor, for the wonderful presentation and about the knowledge about robotics. There is a question from the audience. They asked the professor that which industry you think can apply robotic most efficiently in Thailand?
Actually, can I answer? Actually, in all industry, if Thailand want to compete in the world market, we have to create new product. And in order to create new product, we need to have new automation line, robotics line. So all the industry, it doesn't limit only car manufacturer or only electronics. Even in food industry, so now everything try to change from labor intensive to robot and automation, and this technology help a lot to improve the productivity and quality of the product. Yes. So in factory, I think most of all the industry already come to this direction. Yes.
Okay. From your view, what is the future trend of robotic technologies? Is it substitute human in the labor market, or is will?
Actually, for us, we have to change. We have to adapt. In the past, we know that the limitation of labor, because we can produce product, but the quality of production sometimes it is not very consistent. Some day it is good, some day it is bad. So we have to improve ourselves. Okay, robot will not replace, but it will change the nature of our work. So instead of doing production by ourselves, we have to change the skill in such a way we become the designer of the motion of the robot. We become the programmer of the robot, or we have to develop the robot. So we have to follow the trend and develop ourselves. Then there will be no problem. It will not take your job, but you have to adapt in order to work with the robot, because it comes definitely. Yes.
That's good. In your opinion, what are the strengths of robotic technology in Thailand comparing to others?
Yes. Okay. Actually, this technology we study at school, and I don't say that Thailand is better than Japan or USA or Europe. We are the same. We study the same thing. Yes. So the strength of Thailand is on prototyping is very cheap. We have a lot of machine shop in Thailand, and when you design the system, okay, you may provide SolidWorks drawing, or you just provide your idea, and then machine shop in Thailand can produce the part for you with very low cost. And of course, for PCB, if you design the circuit by yourself, then just ask the PCB to create that print circuit, then it will be very cheap. But also in Thailand, there are several companies that you just provide the function, then they will design the circuit for you. And this kind of prototyping is very cheap, super cheap in Thailand. And this is Thailand's strength. Another thing is about the market, because we are Thai engineer, we stay with the market, we know the requirement. And for several users, they have maybe different requirement. So we can modify or adapt our product to fit the actual requirement of the customer. So these are the strength of robotics engineer in Thailand. Yes.
Do you have an example that Thai engineer can develop the robotic technology and use in the real world?
I already show with 5 companies. Those are the robots that are available in the market. So that is the showcase of the real Thai robotics, and we do as mass production. In the past, we did a lot for Thai engineer. We built the robot, but just only 1 unit or made to order, and we don't stamp this is made in Thailand or made by Thai engineer. So the impact is not big. But after the big flood that time, I think iRobotics people, we change a lot, and we think about robotic startup. So we launch a lot of robotics company, but of course some may be not very successful. Some are successful and become bigger and bigger. So this is normal in business, that some will grow, some will die. Yes.
Oh, okay. I see. So I get the questions from the audience is about how Thai robotics company compete with foreign companies. Example, Chinese industry like how difference of the usage or target group between these countries?
Yes, actually, I already answered in the previous question that the strength of the robot company in Thailand is we stay with the market, we stay with the requirement. When we sell the robot, it doesn't stop there. We have to provide service. So we have annual service that are required, and for the requirement from the customer, they are different. Even we develop the robot, but we have to, for example, design the end effector to fit with the real condition of those industry. And these are still the strength that if we have our own Thai robotics company, we can serve the market in Thailand. And if we are strong enough, we can go even to international market. I like CT Asia Robotic because it is super cheap. It can sell also in Japan, in Hong Kong, in other countries. So it is not only that one country will always be the winner. No, the market is so big, so we just share a piece of cake. Yes.
Yeah, and have another questions. How do you find the market in terms of selling your products, especially for those who are new in the market?
Yes, this is very important for any business. The market is important than the technology. Actually, if you can find the buyer, then you survive. Even you have very high technology, but if there's nobody buy your product, then you die. So you have to start in Thailand. I think the best way to start is by selling or making a very cheap product first. It should be in the supply chain of the big product of the robot. But we may sell like sensor, we may sell like actuator. There are a lot of users. And based on that, we have the money as a cash flow in the company. And when we see the customer, then it comes automatically the need of the user. When they buy our sensor, when they buy our actuator, then they may think more about about a bigger system. Then the market comes. We cannot just only create robot show and then think that somebody will come and order. That's not possible. Yes.
Okay. Have another questions. How about the voice robot and chatbot market?
Yes.
Is there any local AI chatbot, R&D and marketing company here?
Yes. Actually, that kind of NLP, natural language processing, it is mainly focused by AI people in computer science, and in Thailand, several research labs at National Science and Technology Development Agency, like NECTEC, they have a lot of activity in that one. But in terms of the company, I don't see much in Thailand yet, but of course, we see a lot of products from abroad. Like even Google nowadays, you have Siri, you have Apple, there are several devices that can process that sound or that speech. So there are a lot, but in Thailand, in terms of the real company, we still don't have many. I don't see much, yes. But there are a lot of research, but it doesn't come as a product yet for natural language processing, yes.
Okay. So it is my questions about the robotic landscape in Thailand.
Yes.
This is originate from the university or it start from a private and or is corporate or something?
It is both. If we think in terms of the robotics arm, robot arm, so industry, they start first because they have like mostly the car manufacturer, they launch their production line, they have the robot. So from that direction, we have those robots. But in terms of a new kind of robot, like the partner robot, there are several robots that can be used not only in factory, but we can use it in our household. We can use it for agricultural purpose. So there are several other new type of the robot. So this type of the robot mainly start from university. Yes.
Okay, so I think it is good time to finish the session. So do you have any key takeaway for your sessions?
I don't have any.
Okay. That's fine. So thank you very much, Dr. Manukit, for the insightful knowledge about the robotics. Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so let's move to the last topic today on the trend of data analytics skills in the business organization. We received the honors from Dr. Shruti-Porn Anutariya, Associate Professor in the Department of Information and Communication Technologies of the School of Engineering and Technologies, AIT. Dr. Shruti-Porn received her Bachelor of Science in Statistics from Chulalongkorn University. She also obtained her Master of Science in Computer Science and Doctor of Technical Science in Computer Science from AIT. Her research interests are on the learning technology and massive open online courses, database and information system, knowledge representation and knowledge management, open data and open government data, semantics and linked data technologies, web and mobile technologies. Dr. Shruti-Porn received the Best AI Project Award in 2017. It is a good time to start. Please join me. Welcome Dr. Shruti-Porn to have a speech today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction. It's also my pleasure to have a chance and opportunity to give my some of my experience and knowledge to all of you. Okay, so let me share the screen.
Yes, sure.
All right. So the topics of today, as already introduced, right, is the trend of data analytics skills in business organization. And let me use some pointer so we can see where we are. Okay. The content for today, we will talk a little bit about the data era and the analytics and data analytics consumption and impact in Thailand. Then we move to business career opportunities, the trends in Thailand, and some of the interesting applications and use cases. And then we end the talk by giving you some ideas and examples related to data analytics companies and startups in Thailand. Okay, so let's have a look at our first topic on the data era. So I think everyone is aware, right? We are well aware that currently there are the mega trends and related technology trends in Thailand, and data analytics or the explosive generation and use of data has been one of the mainstream as well. We all agree that we are now in the age of era where there exists huge and massive amount of data, and that comes to the terms that we have heard of. Maybe we have heard of the term big data as well, right? And the reason why data analytics become one of the interesting technology nowadays is related to this availability of big data. So we can say that actually big data and data analytics are one of the technologies that is increasingly utilized in various industries nowadays, even from retail store, from finance sector, from telecommunications sector, healthcare, and so on, as well as SME also has, many of SME also have interesting needs and are interested in using these big data and data analytics more and more. So the purpose is that they would like to use big data and the analysis of available data to uncover hidden patterns, to identify more opportunities, to understand the insights, and to, of course, drive the business innovation and that process to be competitive in the current time of digital economy time. So I think these are what we agree, that is the importance and the role of data analytics in business organizations. Of course, when we can make use of data more efficiently and more effectively, that means we can make sense of data, we can use the data we can use the technology, and we can use tools to transform data into insights into the trends, and that means we can drive better data-driven decision and plan and strategies for the business. And it requires, of course, the use of various tools and techniques. And nowadays, I think we will see in later slides as well that underlying big data and underlying data analytics is not only mathematics and statistics knowledge anymore. It includes the knowledge in terms of computing, platform, algorithm, coding, and of course, math and statistics must be there, as well as the new technology such as machine learning, deep learning, so on. So these are the reason why big data and data analytics become more and more important. And for speak in terms of business, actually, why business would be interested in using data analytics. Of course, if we talk about their products and services, they would like to better understand their customers' needs. They would like to fulfill the customer's expectations, providing the right products, understanding their behavior or customer behavior patterns. And also they want to be the fast mover in terms of making more effective business decision, which of course can lead to more competitiveness in the market in the area. And of course, if we talk about their internal process or operations, using data would allow them to improve the internal process and to drive their operations in a cost-effective manner as well. So if the enterprise or business become what we call a data-driven enterprise or a data-driven business, then what does it mean? Of course, it would mean that the enterprise should have the ability and should, of course, make use of the current technology in order to extract new value, new insight from the existing data that they have. And of course, these existing data doesn't mean only the organizational data assets that they do have. It also includes public data and also open data available nowadays too. And let me move a little bit to some of the statistics and the trend that has been studied and made available by the DBA, okay? And this trend says about data analytics consumption in Thailand. So let's say that this is the current year. And if you want to look into the next 15 years, that means actually this report has been made in the 2020. So the next 15 years would be around 2035, okay? So these are the trends they have analyzed. So we can look at the top trend first. So what is this top trend? The consumption of the data analytics line into the data analytics itself. And that means just using data analytics and apply them into the current data that the organization, the enterprise, or the business own. So their own data, okay? So this is one of the things that, of course, beyond looking above the data, beyond looking over the data that are not belong to us. They just need to make sure that they understand their internal data. For example, if let's say AIT, we are an educational institute, right? Applying data analytics would mean applying it to our own operation about understanding, to understand our customers, our students, to understand about the applications coming to AIT in terms of what are the market needs in terms of education or something like that. This is about this trend, okay? And the second one that we can see is related to virtual agents. This is one of the questions that had been raised in the previous talk as well, related to the use of conversational agent or chatbots, or we can call it virtual agent, as you know about Siri or some other widely known chatbots as well. So making use of these virtual agents will be able to bring more value to the business, because right now we focus a lot on customer relationship, okay, CRM, customer relation management, or many other things that rely on human services. If it can be not really replaced, but if it can be assisted by using technologies and using data analytics to provide these services in a manner that is 24 hours per day, 7 days per week, and 365 days per year, right? Then these will improve the level of services that the organization or business would provide to the customer. Then the next one, we could see they are not very much different. So they are related to, for example, emotion analytics, text analytics, audio and speech analytics, okay, and image and video analytics. So these also are part of the data analytics consumption and the area that business are looking, are having demands. Okay, and if I would move to the next, to this slide, this one talks about the impact of data analytics in Thailand. From the same study, we can see that actually why data analytics would give a big impact in Thailand, and in which kind of dimension that it have higher or lower impacts. So let's have a look at this spider diagram. Okay, we can see that the score is starting from 0 to 5, meaning that the dimension with the lowest score mean it has very low impact, while the dimension with the highest score could mean that it has data analytics could bring higher or highest impact in this dimension. So we have the dimension of population impact, creation of the new job, education, healthcare, applications and use cases, market size, and strategic attractiveness. I will go into some of the interesting one by one. So if we look at the population impact, this score and this impact criteria means that we expect, it is expected that by the next 15 years, around that, okay, more than 70% of the enterprises will be more likely to adopt data analytics as one of the tools, okay, to understand their customers, to understand their products, and of course to improve their services and operations. So this is the population impact, that it will give impact to at least 70% of the business populations. And if we look at the next dimension, which is about the job market, okay, with the growing needs of data analytics, right? It means that there will be more demand in terms of jobs. So it is estimated that approximately 50,000 jobs will be needed in Thailand by the year 2030. This talk about jobs demand. So that means in terms of private sectors, they would need people. I mean, of course, if 70% of the businesses would need data analytics to drive their services and operations, right? That would mean they need people. They need data professionals in order to fill their needs to use the data analytics properly. And the next criteria to discuss is related to the impact on healthcare industry. I think we all agree that healthcare industry is one of the newest curve industry in Thailand as well, right? Thailand 4.0 and Industry 4.0. So with data analytics, I think it can bring more of the advancement into the healthcare sectors. It can bring more of the interesting and important applications, including health tech tracking, including better management of diseases, including better and improved services for patient care and clinical data, disease and diagnosis, and business or hospital management as well. So this is kind of a very big industry sector that data analytics would make a huge impact on. So the next one we talk about the criteria on applications and use cases. So if we don't give the very specific focus on one particular sector, okay, we can see that actually data analytics can be applied across every industry, because every business, every industry, they do need to maintain their data. They do need to drive their business based on data. They do need to make data-driven decision and policy and also strategies. So these are why data analytics has the very highest score, 5 out of 5, in terms of applications and use cases. And some of the criteria that we can talk about here is in terms of market size. Even we can see the importance, the roles of data analytics, but talk about market size at the moment, the growth is still not very big jumping at the moment, okay? Because I think many organizations, they still need they have many of the focus as well. So making use of data to drive their operations is one of their priority, but still may not be the top priority among every other needs. And but anyway, in a longer term, the needs for data analytics and the market size will be increasing. In terms of the strategic attractiveness, actually, because data analytics could bring competitive advantage to organization, so it becomes one of the strategy of most organizations in Thailand nowadays. So it's one of the driving factor to support the 4.0 industry, to support digital transformation. And as I already mentioned, that nowadays, the big sector, they can move faster because they do have resources, they do have people, and they perhaps can make themselves available to the advanced technology. So these sectors that can that is said to be one of the advanced sector in making use of data analytics in Thailand would not be anything else but financial and telecommunication sectors. So from all these statistics and the trends that we have seen so far, right? We can say that right now the demands and the barriers that are faced within Thai organizations include these important issues. The first, of course, most of the companies, the organizations, the enterprise, they do have what we call organizational silos. We perhaps even we maintain data by using advanced technology, by using database technology, by using IT and so on. It's still the management of the data and the management of the division and units within organization are still within what we call silo, not very well integrated somehow. So that is one of the drawback we do have. And the second barrier is in terms of legacy processes, because making all the data pipeline available, that means integrating all the data within the organization to be integrated properly, to be maintained in one single centralized manner and so on. It would require them to kind of re-engineering their business process and their internal operations somehow. So legacy processes within the organization would be one of the main factor that is a barrier to the success of data analytics within organization. And the third one, I think this is clear to all of us, that is currently there is still a lack of key digital and data analytics skills in professionals, data professionals or IT professionals. So we need more and more people to fill these kind of, as we said, job demands that will be increasing. And of course, the last challenge is related to the resistance to change. Even we say that big organizations, they do have available resources to make use of data analytics. But of course, the bigger the organization it is, the more difficult they can change, and the more difficult that their people, their staff would be resisting to the change as well. But all this will be, I think, will be overcome in the time that more and more of the advancement of the technology and the importance of the technology has been realized. So when we talk about the challenges, right, here comes the opportunities that we can think about. So it could be in terms of business opportunities and also career opportunities. Okay, so we can see that related to business opportunities, there are increasingly the needs for data and business consultancy and services. So you can think of certain startup companies or units that provide consultancy and services by making use of data analytics technology. And the next opportunity would be in terms of data infrastructure and cloud service provider, because once we talk about massive amount of data or big data, maybe it's not necessarily that it has to be very big at the moment, but anyway, the very appropriate data infrastructure, the very well-founded data infrastructure within an organization would make all the data pipeline, data integration, and the usage of data analytics become easier and more successful. So some of the companies, even big company or SME, sometimes nowadays we have the concept of storing data or making use of cloud services, right? Most companies move towards having on-premise data to on-cloud data. So companies that provide data infrastructure or cloud services could be a new opportunity as well. And in Thailand, there are still not many. We still have several big companies on these kind of providers, but still not very many. And most of the big or key players are still those top companies in the US or in Europe as well, such as like Google Cloud, Amazon Cloud, Microsoft Cloud, and so on. Local companies in Thailand are still not doing not having big market in this area yet. And the next one is we can think of tech startup that provide data analytics tools, provide data analytics products, or data analytics services to other companies. When we talk about enterprises, they may have data analytics division, department, unit, whatever they would call, right? So that means they can have their own in-house people or in-source people to do the data analytics for the data within the organization. But there are also some companies that make these kind of outsourcing services to the other startup company as well. And these outsourcing services to others could be in terms of buying the solution of data analytics solutions or products, okay, or data analytics services. And the next opportunities, of course, is in terms of the workforce. We still need skilled and talent workforce with the data analytics and data science skills. And as I already mentioned, big companies, they do have their own units for data analytics. So they need these people to be hired and to work within their organization. And the last one that I mentioned here is the opportunities in terms of education programs or professional training programs in order to provide more of the to provide skillful and talent workforce in this job market. So if we talk about skills and perhaps talents and capabilities that we need, right? So these are several possible job titles or career titles that we may have heard in terms of data analytics and data science professionals. So we have something like data scientist. We do need what we call data engineer. We need data analyst and even data visualization developer, machine learning engineer, business intelligence engineer, business analytics specialist. These are, they are not synonyms. So that means they are not the same job professions. They are different. For example, data scientists, they need to have kind of strong knowledge and background in mathematics, statistics, and also the computer programming as well, something like that. While data engineer, they are more on the data modeling and management. They are more on the data structure, data technology, the pipeline of integrating data from different sources within the organization and pull them together, store them together, and so on, and make these data available for the data scientist or for machine learning engineer to make use of the data for building the model, predicting or providing insight from the data, something like that. Business intelligence engineer, this person or these people will be someone who understand more of the business need as well and understand the availability, the available data that we have, and perhaps they know that what kind of business intelligence, what kind of analysis result that we want to know, what kind of pattern we are looking for from the data. But of course, this person may not have the very strong computing coding background in order to run the model by themselves, but they do more or less know about the business need and understand the data, something like this. So these are what you could see, that we still need a lot of these people in the job market of Thailand to fill the growing needs of data analytics. And as I already mentioned from the previous slide, so this could see that if we talk about the knowledge and skill landscape, we are interested in people who have these various skills, but of course it depends that we are talking about which job professionals. For example, if we talk about data scientists, it is in the middle here. What does it mean here? It means data scientists need computer science or coding background. Okay. Data scientists need to also understand the business or the domain knowledge so that they can make sense of the data and understand what does this mean by each of these data. And of course, they need to have strong understanding and knowledge in the statistics and mathematics as well. So these are the landscape of the knowledge, as I already mentioned. And if we talk about just, suppose that we talk about business analytics or business intelligence engineer, the focus will perhaps gear towards these two circles. That is the knowledge of business and domain and the knowledge of statistics and mathematics, more or less, but maybe not very strong in terms of computer coding and so on. So let's continue to discuss about particular and interesting trends in Thailand that we can discuss a bit in terms of data analytics. If we talk about the government's perspective, nowadays actually all of the ministries in Thai government, they focus on formulating strategies, making use and utilization of big data and data analytics. Okay, there have been initiatives and projects related to integration of available database within the ministry, within the government offices, and also integrating across the government offices as well. So this is one of the the movement that the government is moving towards, the use of data for policy making, decision making. And the key focus areas that the government may give priorities include public health and also tourism, as well as meteorological domain, because the last one is related to data concerning natural resources, concerning natural disaster, because Thailand, we do have a lot of farming, we do have agriculture sector, right? And we really need a lot of data from meteorological in order to predict and to prevent certain things that could happen to the agriculture sector. And I think more interesting use cases for the government and their perspective is to make use of big data, data analytics to make the government becoming more efficient in terms of their own government functions. For example, in terms of budgeting, in terms of planning, solving social problems, and so in terms of budgeting, I'm not sure, maybe have you, many of you might have heard that many governments, not only in Thailand, right, they make use of the data analytics in order to give more appropriate budget allocation to the to each of the provinces, cities, states, and so on, or units, so that they can make a better plan on their functions and their budgets, and more transparency as well. If we move to the enterprise perspective, I have certain data to share here that it is expected to see that around 70-80% of private sector will be interested in and will be utilizing big data to gain the business insight and to bring values to their business. And currently, due to limited resources, as I already shared, only few SME have realized the importance of big data. And if we talk about effective use case and the success rate, right now it's still not very many success cases to be shared in Thailand. It's still under 20% of the success case, and 40% of them are on the pilot stage. So that means out of 100, 20% can be good example of success business cases of making use of data analytics, while 40% they are still in the progress and the pilot stage, and the remaining 40% still wait and see stage somehow, and not having a very clear plan to implement big data and data analytics as of yet. But this is the current figure, current percentage. And as I mentioned, to conclude, based on this enterprise perspective and the statistics that we have, the barriers, right, or the challenge we are facing is due to the lack of experienced personnel, skilled data scientists, data analyst professionals that are still not enough to fill the needs of all organizations, either public sector or private sector. Let me go quickly to the next topic related to some applications and use cases of data analytics. So as I already mentioned, tourism would be one of the focus areas for the by the government as well. And also not only in terms of the government that want to move or to drive the usage of data analytics, but by the private sectors themselves, with the private companies, hotels, and those business within this tourism industry, which is one of the big industry in Thailand, right? And bring in a lot of incomes to Thailand. The use of data analytics will be very helpful for them. The goals is that in terms of the whole country or the whole industry, we of course want to make sure that we want to retain existing tourists. We want to attract new tourists, and we also want to promote new tourism destinations, new tourism products. These are kind of the three main goals that we want to achieve in the tourism industry. So in order to achieve these goals, these are possible tourism data analytics areas that have been done for the moment, even not very advanced yet, but there are initiation, and of course, depending on different particular companies, okay, they do use these, they make use of data analytics in terms of these things. For example, to make use of, to understand the tourist behavior, they can analyze what are popular tourist destination in which season, in which month, what are popular activities, what are the things that perhaps Thai tourists, Chinese tourists, or the European tourists would like to do in each of the tourist destination or attractions. And it could lead to the next analytics task, which is part of the recommendation system. For example, maybe we have our experience, right? Usually some of the products they love to give recommendations, and if the recommendations are very accurate, it's more likely that the customer will buy the product or will be interested in the recommended product. So it could be that we apply recommendation technology to recommend tourist attractions, to recommend activities, to recommend products, okay, based on the tourist profiles, based on the tourist lifestyles. We can also make use of correlation, trend analysis, or we can make use of what is called sentiment analysis. That is, nowadays people love to post and share their product experience, right? So this sentiment analysis is some kind of understanding customer voice analysis that is try to aggregate data from several sources, such as Twitter, Facebook, or social media, right? And to see that what people talk about each particular product, or in terms of tourism could be the attraction, the destination, and so on. What do people talk about, either in terms of negative feedbacks, positive feedbacks, and make those feedbacks be the important source of information to improve and to give better services, okay? And to understand more of what people concern, okay? And the next thing that can be used is to make use of data analytics for target advertising, for personalized marketing, so that we can give the advertising to the right target, something like that. And actually, this is just to share with you that in order to do the previous analytics tasks, right, then we need this kind of available data. For example, if we are hotels or accommodations, right, we run accommodation services, we need information related to the accommodations, related to the tourist data, related to the way they make use of the services in the hotel, and so on. And we can gather data from social media contents. We can look at the data from customer reviews in order to understand their interest, their behavior, what they like to do in terms of their activities. And even if we have banking or financial sectors as part of this analysis, I mean, banking and financial related data, we can even analyze the spending. What is the top spending by customer in each sector in terms of tourist product and so on, okay? And if we move to another sector, which is, for example, agriculture industry, here would be some example of opportunities related to this sector. We can make use of data analytics in order to, with the goal to increase farming productivity, to improve farming operations, or to analyze the market, what people like and what people don't like in terms of agriculture products. We can even use the data analytics to recommend or to suggest new products development, okay? And we can learn about the customer behavior, of course, based on different customer profiling. They may have different behavior or they may have different preferences in terms of the agriculture products. We can even make use of the technology in order to apply for the supply chain. So these are also opportunities of applying data analytics into this area. And let me bring to the last part of my talk, which is some examples of data analytics startups or products within Thailand as well. I included not very many, but just some of them. For example, the first one, this is called Thai AI Service Platform. It's provided by AI for Thai. This one is a kind of company, private company. I'm not sure whether I should call it company, but it's a spin-off from NECTEC, one of the research government agency in Thailand as well that do a lot of research within the area. So this platform provide, for example, machine vision services that is making use of image and video analytics services, provide video analytics services and image processing services. And the next one is language services. That means making use of, providing natural language processing and natural language understanding technology, as well as conversation or the chatbot in Thai language. I think nowadays, many of the company or startups are interested in what we call social listening or social analytics, to understand what people, customers talk about their products in the social network, because I think these are kind of important. We don't want people to talk about us in a very negative manner, right? And we don't know, and we don't have strategy to fix if things happen. So they want to really have. So this is one of the company that is in this domain as well. It is called Sanru. It provides social analytics services, for example. Okay, and that means it can improve customer engagement, customer relationship, and so on. And another last example is called Data Wow, which is a consultancy company. It gives data consultant services, for example, in terms of data solutions, processing, machine learning, engineering, text mining, or something like this. And there are actually more and more of the local business in Thailand that provide products and services related to data analytics. So I think that's all for the talk. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. This will be the Q&A sessions for about data analytics. So for now, there is questions from the audience. They ask that in customer side, do you think some big data analytics will disrupt customer privacy or something?
Okay, that's very interesting and important question. Thank you. I didn't mention about this data privacy and privacy concern in my talk, but it's one of the very important issue that is not only in Thailand, right, but has been recognized worldwide as well. Of course, all of the companies in Thailand, I think we all aware of these laws. Even the enforcement will be delayed for the next year. And I think they all prepare. For example, we can see that if we make use of mobile applications, banking, transaction, and so on, we need to give consent whether we allow them to store our data and we allow them to use our data for analyzing this and that or not. So I will not say that it will it will be a problem in terms of the end customer, the end user, because we still maintain the right, we maintain the full right, whether we allow or we disallow the company to make use our own data or not. So of course, it will be a challenge. I would say that it will be a challenge of the company or business, but not for us. So for us, if we are well aware and if we are very careful, we should not say yes to everything, right? To every consent form that they ask us. So we should be very, we should pay attention. When the companies would like to collect our data and store for the analysis purpose, we can say yes or we can say no based on what we think would be our interest. Because sometimes I think it's a kind of win-win situation somehow. The company may use our data, but of course, they also have limitations on the usage. That is, they can keep our data, but they still need to respect to our privacy. The analysis that they make on our data cannot reveal who we are. So the data identity cannot be revealed. So in that case, they only have some of the profile, like I am Thai, or maybe I am female. My age is between 30 and 50. My here and there, but it's not that this Dr. Shutiporn is doing this and doing that and doing those. It will just be a very some of the demographic or profile data as well.
Okay, it is my questions. It is my curious about the data analytics. During the COVID-19 situations, you have any example that some countries use data analytics technique to coping with the COVID-19?
I think there are different levels of data analytics. The very easiest level, even just statistics, that is some kind of descriptive analytics. It is also considered to be one example, one simple example of analyzing data. So we have seen in our every daily news, right, that we follow. Today, 2,000 new cases in Thailand who are infected, and 1,900 cases who can go back to home and will recover and something like that. Even this is also part of data analytics, but in a very basic level. But what will be the advanced level? I think we also see example even in Thailand as well. For example, we can see the trend of exponential growth. For example, sometimes the government or even the medical doctor, they even share to us that if we keep doing the same, I mean, if we don't have a strict precaution measure and preventive measure against COVID-19, and we just have a normal behavior, then the case from 2,000 infections per day will increase. In 7 days, we become 20,000 per day of new infection or something like that. This is based on the prediction and the trend analysis. But of course, it is based on certain scenario. We need to make some kind of scenario, such as if we make better precaution measure, what will be the trend of the infection? If we just don't do anything, what will be the trend? If we have a very active vaccination program, what will be the trend, the likelihood of the number of infections, for example? And many other countries are the same.
Yeah, thank you. There is a question from the audience. It's about how difference between social listening and social analytics, or are they the same?
I think it is more or less the same. That is making use of social network, social data. For example, the sharing on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. Okay, and but more or less, when we use the term social listening, we have certain focus. Suppose I am a business. I own a business of doing some. I produce some product. Okay, then I want to hear about my customer, the voice of customer related to my product. So I focus specifically on the product, or even on just one sector. Suppose I produce shoes, running shoes. I want to hear that what people talk about my running shoes. Are they happy? Are they complaining? And so on. So this is more or less when we use the term social listening, but the term social analytics could be very broad. We can talk about social analytics in a broader sense, that we analyze what people are talking about, what is the top trend people talk these days in Twitters and so on. But it's kind of similar, overlapping terms anyway. Thank you.
Okay. And another questions from the audience. Could you give me some good example of big data from public health? What do you think is the greatest challenge for data of volunteer?
Okay, example of big data from the public health. I think in many countries, when we talk about public health, we may think about the macro picture, the whole country and so on. So we can consider something like in the north, for example, what are the kind of major diseases that people are suffering from, for example. So these are examples of big data. So we may want to find root cause or correlation analysis as well, that maybe we can see that people from the south, they usually have this kind of health issues, but why this happened to only people from the south of Thailand, but not from the north and other parts of Thailand. And also the same for the epidemic or certain time we may have certain disease, right? Like the COVID, but that is pandemic somehow. But even within certain region, we can even collect data within the region and analyze from this data to understand more and to provide more of the preventive programs, such as we know that every year, this area, there will be people will perhaps suffer from dengue. Okay, we may need to have a program to destroy mosquitoes and so on in particular time and place of the year. And these are examples of what they can do. Greatest challenge for data of volunteer. I'm not sure that the person who asked, do you mean like if we have kind of trial, some clinical trial, right, that we need volunteer, then of course there are a lot of challenges for them. And in terms of the data, of course, I think for many of the volunteer participating in healthcare project or clinical trial project and so on, they need to definitely sign consent form, because the healthcare, they really need to analyze the data to understand the effect of, for example, the drugs, the vaccine, the medication program that has been used on the volunteer. So heavy use of data analysis and data analytics technique will be on their data. So the challenge will be that first you need to agree on their usage of your data. And if you agree, of course, you join the program and so on. But talking about the positive side, of course, the way they make use of your data is for the benefit of all mankind. It's not for the benefit of just some small business that want to maximize their profit, right?
Okay, so it's the time to finish. Thank you very much, Professor, about the speech and the Q&A. So finally, I would like to invite Khun Waravet to give the closing remark.
Thank you very much, Khun Paisan. So this is the first webinar, and AIT and ToothSpark will be having more webinars like this that we want to address the technology aspect that we would like to send the message to everyone, in the world, including our counterparts and industries in China and also in Thailand and other countries. We would like to be able to give useful information for you to decide on the businesses that you would like the Thai counterpart will be coming to China or from China to Thailand. The second thing, which is very important, that we would like to serve as the hub or the platform to Spark and AIT to be the place that, the academic people, like today we have the academic people, meeting with the practitioners and meeting with the industries, so that this is the place where we can also match between the needs from the industries, businesses, and to see what are the top priorities that the investor and business people can come and create value to the market. So we are happy to provide this hub for interactions, and we are going to have more and more activities like this that giving more information to you, not only from Thailand side but also from the perspective of what AIT are giving the space, and also from the TUSPARK side, the WHA side, and also from the China side. For instance, AIT also have link with the international organization like APT, like you can see on the screen. This is another example that we can also reach out to the organization that covering the Asia Pacific region. And we are going to also have the same similar events we call the web dialogue that focusing on the 5G technologies and also the IoT. So in this platform, we are linking between AIT and also the international organization that makes sense to the business in Thailand and also around the region. So we are also, inviting all of you, to other events that is organized by AIT. We also have other programs with the TUSPARK that we are going to have in future. So we would like to keep in touch with you all the time, and we will try to make sure that anything that we would like to offer to you will benefit to you in many dimensions. And at the end of the day, we want to see the partnership come in the reality here in Thailand or maybe in China and also maybe another place that the business is running. So with that, I would like to give a lot of thanks to Mr. Lee from TUSPARK and his team to make this happen, and also to agree with AIT and to support AIT to have this webinar happening. And last but not the least, very important also to thank our moderator today, Kun Paisan, that is processing for this, webinar is very lively and also very interesting way. Also, I would like to thanks to Dr. Christopher Gonnier, our Executive Director of AIT Extensions, that keep on supporting us all the time that we should do something, and also we should look at the interest of the business people in Thailand and in China and other part of the region, so that we can also make them to meet and be able to make sense to the industry in the future. We would like to see that. So Dr. Christopher, thank you very much. Also would like to thank every team of the TUSPARK that make this happen. We would like also to thank Dr. Manukit and Dr. Shutiporn. Thank you very much, both of the speakers. We learn a lot from you, from the landscape of Thailand. And those, I think, the presentation things that you are making, I think, is allow us to be able to have not only in-depth understanding of what the research and development has to be trends on, but also what are the horizontals of the business that our colleagues from other countries can expand in Thailand. There are a lot of small dots in the supply chains and value chains that we can play with, and we believe that our next event will be deep dive into those supply chain, and you will learn more from those events. So thank you all, and we are also looking forward again to receive your feedback, and also to welcome you again for the next event, which is organized by TUSPARK and AIT. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So for today, thank you very much, all the audience. Just watch the session. See you in the next event. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye bye.